What is up, Mango Kingdom? Smoothest Mango here, and I am still reeling from The Last of Us Part 2's conclusion, and frankly, the entire game. It is bold, it is brutal, it broke the internet in 2020, though that could have been a COVID problem too. But the question is, does it still hit hard in 2025? Let's break it down. So, the quick pitch here is it is a revenge-fueled journey in post-apocalyptic world, expanding on Part 1's storyline and the consequences with new perspectives. Spoiler, it is extremely divisive, but it is very impactful. Now, before we dive into my usual criteria or anything else, I have to make something clear. Folks, if you have complaints about Last of Us Part 2's story, that's fine. Not everyone has, to love the story. Not everyone has to agree with it. But if your complaints involve LGBT, if your complaints involve the use of the word woke, or if your whole argument is a rant about how much protein exists in the post-apocalyptic world, I'm sorry, but you have a very different problem than the quality of the game. So, with that all being said, let's dig into our usual 6 criteria. Gameplay, story/world/characters, music and sound, graphics and art, replayability, and overall vibe. So buckle up, there are major spoilers ahead, and we are going to dig into all of it. This is going well. Oh, Jesus! That's a hell of a tackle. No entry. Let's start off with gameplay. Now, compared to Last of Us Part 1, the game has evolved well in the terms of gameplay. It has grown in a very linear perspective in that the gameplay is still what you know and love, but it is improved. There's prone crawling, more crafting upgrades, and frankly, smarter AI, which I think distinctively upgrades the combat. Stealth through tall grass, or you can go guns a-blazing approach, shotguns, traps. It is tense, it is varied, and it really brings a perspective to the game that makes you feel like it is more alive and breathing, and more importantly, gives you the agency to decide if you want to engage or not engage. Now, the only note I will make on that is I don't usually feel like I have an option to engage the dogs, and the number of times I have had to defend myself from doggos and then fallen into a messy puddle of crying and tears for having done what I had to do to survive the game makes me super sad. There needs to be not only an achievement for fighting 0 doggos, which is admittedly difficult given the storyline, but I love it, but I hate it, and and I think that's just really well designed. Now, that being said, more specifically on that, the dogs add an incredible distinctive style to the combat and the gameplay in general from a stealth perspective. That's really well done. The Seraphites are exceptionally different. Like the whistling and their engagement as involved the story is just fantastic. Now, so the pros here, more specifically, it's fluid, the fights are brutal, crafting feels rewarding, as with Last of Us 1. With Part 2, it's even more so. Like, it feels good. And also, the time you spend in prone surprisingly opens up the game more in terms of how you're able to approach combat. It's just really good. Now, the con I will give here is that despite the AI being better, they still give up a little easily. Like, if you shoot someone and then just disappear, they're all just like, they'll look for like 20 seconds and they're like, huh, that's crazy. I guess Steve's head just spontaneously exploded. And it's just, every game in existence has struggled with this, but I'd still like to see a little bit more give and take in that gameplay space. But all in all, it's refined, it's immersive, and it's a step up from Part 1, no question. Gameplay, honestly, gameplay's gotta be an S tier for me. It's a really beautiful balance between, resource management. The traps that Ellie can plant create a meaningful difference in style. I enjoy the back and forth of the different characters, the melee weapons, the rewarding balance of stealth versus combat. Gameplay's an S tier.
This is my brother.
Joe.
Look at the whole room.
Like you heard of us or something.
Because they have.
Laura, all clear?
He's out. Put him against the wall.
Tommy! Get off me! Get off me!
So next up is story/world/characters. This will be by far the most controversial of the segments in this, and I think it is phenomenal. The story deep dives into a cycle of violence, loss, and most importantly, perspective shifts. This is not told from one character's perspective, this character must be right, and they need to get their vengeance. There is a lot of perspective here, and I think the game does this most beautifully by telling this story through Ellie's eyes, and then as Ellie's journey reaches its conclusion, if you will, in Seattle, then switching to Abby's view. This is where some people really don't like the story. And again, you're not obligated to share my opinion, but I think very sincerely, if your reason for not liking the story is because of how much you care about Joel, is because of how much you care about Ellie, I think that's fine, but I would really urge you to take some deep breaths, step back from it, and look at the story for what it's meant to be and not what you want it to be. The story is fully about appreciating that everyone is the villain in someone else's story, and that an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. Like, it's a cheesy line a lot of us have heard, but the game feels real in that every single time a character makes this choice for vengeance, you're sitting there going like, I get it. Like, so it doesn't feel unrealistic. It's not ridiculous. It's not over the top. The choices feel very real. And that can cause a little bit of anxiety, but they feel very real. And every character that something bad happens to, it is almost exclusively a consequence of their own actions. And there's collateral damage. Mel doesn't really deserve what she gets pretty much across the board. But what Abby does is a consequence of Joel's actions. What Ellie does is a consequence of Abby's actions. And it goes back and forth and back and forth. And that is the point of the story. The point of the story is not to walk away and say, oh, I feel good now, we're the hero. This isn't a 1990s B action thriller. And those are fine. Like, I'm not criticizing B action thrillers. I grew up on them. But the point of this story is to appreciate everyone's a villain. There are no good guys in this, with the exception of Lev and Yara, probably. There just aren't. Everyone has done things. And so for me, I consider the story flawless. Like, genuinely. If you can actually set aside your emotion and look at the story from as what it's telling, and not this critical, I hated the story, but technically it's really good. That's a whole separate argument about how I hate movie critics. But if you look at the story really for what the story is, it is genuinely flawless. It is so beautiful. It sucks, and it's horrible, and it's awful. It's hopeful, and it's uplifting, and then it's awful again. It's story, and when you play a game like this, it's meant to be realistic and highlight the flawed nature of humans. It is completely unforgettable. The complexity is amazing. I love this story, and I think I can safely say that from a character-driven perspective, this is by far the best story I've ever played. Now, I'll always love the codex of Mass Effect and the beautiful universe that's created, and from a world-building perspective, Mass Effect, will always win on that. But the characters and the story, absolute S tier. Absolutely S tier plus for Last of Us Part 2. No question. If you like these kind of videos and you want to see more, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe below, and hit me up in the comments with your thoughts on the video.
If I ever lose you, I'd surely lose myself.
Alright, let's talk music and sound. So, Gustavo's back, more haunting acoustics, new tracks, the guitar riffs, and the ability for players to play on the guitar. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but you should absolutely Google guitar riffs Last of Us Part 2 on YouTube and see what characters have done. Like, because it's so for the story, you have to play certain songs, but people can actually just riff, and they've done some incredible things, and to have that in the game is amazing. But the music is good. It enhances a lot of things, and I think it's really good quality. But once again, for me, what makes Last of Us music and sound so good is the amping of the horror, the echoing gunfights, the infected shrieks. The rain patter is just top tier. The voice acting is absolutely stellar. Like, the raw emotion, the feeling. a key part of the reason the story feels so real is because Ashley Johnson and Laura Bailey absolutely just flawless performances, just unbelievable. And I have to make a 5-second note on folks that complain, like folks that went after Laura Bailey because of the decisions Abby's character does for the purpose of the story. You are the most brain dead people in existence. Like, it's one thing to complain about the story. It's completely inappropriate to go after the writers and say, we hate what you did with the story. You could go after and say, hey, I really disagree with these choices. You could be mature and go after the writers in a mature and professional fashion. And I could live with that. I would disagree with you. I thought it was flawless, as I mentioned before. But, I would respect that. But to go after the voice actor, as if the voice actor, can you imagine? It's like these people went after Laura Bailey. Like, Laura Bailey gets to this scene in the beginning of the game, Joel lying at her feet, and just said, hold on, writers, I know you have a plan, but what if, just hear me out. And then Laura grabs a golf club, because they're doing the motion capture, and she just starts beating the shit out of Troy Baker. And she's like, this is good, we can use this. And the writers are like, I don't know. And she's like, I'll kill you too. And then the writers are like, okay, we'll change the whole story. Like what? How brain dead do you have to be to think that makes any sense? Like just, what? That has driven me crazy for 5 years. Like, again, part one, that it's never appropriate to demonstrate that level of vitriol against anyone. There's more effective ways to communicate and healthier ways to communicate respectfully. But that's like me stubbing my toe and then running 100 meters over and throwing a rock through the window of my barber and being like, how dare you let me stub my toe? Like, it just, what? Okay, had to be said. Laura Bailey, you did wonderful. I'm sorry for all the hate you got. You didn't deserve any of it. I hope you, Ronan, and Travis are doing fantastic. Anyway. Music and sound, it's got to be S tier, folks. I mean, the main theme remix is amazing. I hear it. I just chills every time. It's so emotional. The audio elevates the heartbreak. The audio in the final scene where Ellie and Abby are in the ocean going, just fighting, and then Ellie lets her go, and you could just... Oh, and then Ashley Johnson crying, it was an ugly cry. And it's just so good. Music and sounds, S tier.
I can't live like this anymore, Abby.
Owen, I'm serious. I will break up with you. Owen.
I always loved you.
Don't! Owen!
Oh, God. That's so fucking high up. Not great entry technique. Alright, I'm gonna rant less now, and let's focus up here. Graphics and art. Folks, the PS4 visuals held up well in 2025, and it was remastered. And it's good. It's stunning world building. Seattle looks amazing. Facial animations are incredible. The mocap on this is outstanding. Now, again, graphics and art's gonna get the same dip that Last of Us Part 1 did. There's occasional frame drops, and it's tied to the lighting. When the flashlight on the character hits the particles of spores, and there's ambient lighting coming in through a window from sun and everything. It just instead of the coding being here's a hard limit, it just loses its shit. And I don't care how good your PC is, it'll take a hit. And so again, I'm playing on PC. PlayStation, I'm pretty sure doesn't have this issue, but PC has reported it. So I'm not the only one. And it's a nitpick, but it can be really annoying and immersion breaking when it happens. And I have to reload the game, and it's annoying. The only other nitpick is there's a lot of times where it feels like I should be able to climb something, and that's not a gameplay thing. It's just the art looks like I should be able to climb, and you can't, and they're like, oh, we threw vines over it. And I feel like that could have been done a little better. But if you don't zoom in too much, which theoretically you really shouldn't be in the most part in games like this, it is truly beautiful. There's no question of that. So I'm mostly nitpicking here because that's really all that's available. We are talking about phenomenal games. Graphics and art, nitpicks aside, I have to give this an S tier. It's just so good, especially because PCs are always going to have a little bit of nitty-gritty issues. It plays flawlessly on the PlayStation. It's got to be S tier.
I can't let you leave.
Oh my God.
I'm not doing this.
Right? Jesus.
No. Just,
All right, while we're doing this,
I'm not gonna
'cause-
fight you.
yeah, we're gonna. This is happening. Ellie's gonna threaten
Yes, you
Lev.
will.
God damn it. This is so. Okay.
He's not a part of this. You made him a part of this.
To be fair, she did. Replayability. Now, most story-based games. I don't know why I'm doing a clap back here. Like, how dare you? Most story-based games don't really get great replayability. Like, they'll get good, you know, because it's fun to re-experience. But a game like this, where it's mostly on, like, you know, you think it's about the plot, and once you've seen it, you've seen it. Even without New Game Plus, even without Grounded, which is a whole separate conversation, I think the replayability on this game is actually phenomenal. It is. It just, like, it's linear story. There's no branching. There's no choices. Like, you can change your gameplay a little bit. I mean, you can switch up which weapons a little bit. Like, so there's limits to it. But the New Game Plus, the perma difficulty, or permadeath, the higher difficulties, collectibles, but most importantly, Grounded, which allows you to actually do time trials in competitive scenarios, like allowing you to focus on the gameplay that you really love about this game. It is S tier, and you know, go through these different trials. It's phenomenal replayability. It reminds me a lot of Mass Effect 3, actually. Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was outstanding. And the ability to just enjoy the gameplay of a game that has gameplay well designed is really smart. And so, I mean, I think there's always going to be limitations to a story base like this, so I don't think this is S tier, but replayability is a solid A. Like, because there's just a lot there. I lean a little bit towards S tier. I'm going to stick with A, but this is really close to S tier replayability because of Grounded.
I'm sorry.
Can I help you? You want to be part of this conversation? Is everything
Well.
about us? I got your tummy.
I can't go.
I know.
All right. Reckon it's easy. Forget about her. You sitting all comfy way out here?
Hey,
Hey.
I'll make her pay.
Tommy.
That's what you said when we got back to Jackson.
Tommy.
What a joke.
Okay, last but not least, overall vibe. I think people are going to disagree on this, and that's fine. Intelligent, respectful people can disagree, and that's fine. But I think the vibe, it's heavy, it's introspective, which I think is where we lose some folks, but it's unrelenting. The toll of revenge is deep, it is emotional, and it is brutal. The moral gray areas, the quiet beauty amid the horror of this world. It's not fun necessarily, but it is profound and it is artistic. And so I do think there's something to be said for, you know, taking this immersive emotional roller coaster for what it is. If you walk into it expecting something specific and you're going for uplifting, this is not going to be for you. The depressing tone can be exhausting. It's not for lighter gaming moods. That's the only downside I can give this, but it's a polarizing but powerful vibe, and if you walk in ready to embrace that, you will experience one of the greatest stories that's ever been written for video games. And that's my overall vibe. It's S tier. So in summary, folks, The Last of Us Part 2, it pushes boundaries. There's no question of that. The gameplay is elite, the story is daring, the music is masterful, graphics shine, replayability is solid, and the vibes are intense. I mean, honestly, I think I gotta give this 4 pirate mangoes, you know, surrounding a twerking mango. I don't know what else you could want in life. So if you want deep storytelling, absolutely play this game. If you are craving uplift, I would not play this game. You will not be satisfied by the end. So the ultimate recommendation, folks, is if you have not played Last of Us Part 1 or Part 2, if you have heard bad things about it, ignore them. You should absolutely play this game. It's amazing. I think anyone who enjoys video games would enjoy this game. The only exception is if you exclusively prefer uplifting games, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, things like that. I don't think you'll enjoy this because it can be very intense. But if you are up for a story that can make you cry, if you can watch Studio Ghibli and really appreciate the depth of the story, you will love this to death. and you should absolutely play it. Folks, if you love or hate Last of Us 2, I want to hear about it in the comments, so make sure to drop some comments below. Disagree, agree, whatever, I like them both. Just be respectful as always, and I will catch you next time.